Hi, I'm Margaret Miller Guide. Thanks for joining me. Today I am covering a really important topic, and that is chair squats for seniors. And when I say seniors, I'm talking anybody over 55, just like, when you go grocery shopping, sometimes you get the bonuses. But it's really important to start your squats younger. And so, if you're suffering from arthritis, if you are recovering from an accident or illness, regaining the ability to get up and down from a chair independently is really important. And so, you don't have any special equipment, but you do have chairs at home, and I've chosen a chair with an arm to it. And hopefully you have one that, and I'll show you different options here, but there's a reason I'm choosing a chair with an arm, because it'll give us stepwise progression. So if you are finding that you're still having to use your arms to help you get up out of a chair, then a couple of things. So if you're sitting, and I'm very lucky that I have this old chair that still is made for a smaller statured person like myself, and I'm not way deep in the chair. But for a lot of my clients, when I go to their homes and see them, they have very deep chairs, and then trying to get out from the back of the chair is really challenging. So the first thing to do is come forward in the chair. So ensuring that you make your way to the edge of the chair. Now the next thing that is helpful is to get your stronger leg behind you. And then to have your arms help you. So we take a breath in, and in order to get out of a chair, the shoulders have to come over the knees. So I know for a lot of people this is a bit of a scary thing if you're recovering from a fall or an injury. So knowing that is the correct thing to do is sometimes brings some comfort. And so as you come forward, this is when you have to start pushing into the floor to come up. Now, this is your chair squat in terms of height. And this might be just, the one-off of how you get in and out of the chair. But how do you work on progressing that to become more independent? So, if that took a lot of effort, I'm not going to get a big buy-in from you if I say I'd like you to do that 10 times. However, if we can get you to do a small version of that 10 times so that you start to build your strength, that's what we're going to cover today. So, first thing would be to actually make use of the arm of the chair. The arm of the chair is usually, a good 8 to 12 inches higher than the chair itself. And I'm going to use the back of the chair for support. But by all means, if your stability is compromised, then what I'd want you to do is actually have another chair in front of you, just to be on the safe side. So with this, we would just start working the strength so that you're coming down to the arm of the chair. And you notice how that doesn't take quite as much effort. It's just partial way down from what's required to get onto the seat of the chair. But I still want you to integrate all of the important things that are required when doing a proper squat or getting in and out of the chair, which means your feet are going to be shoulder width apart, at least. And that's going to ensure that you're more stable. The next thing is that when you're going down, you're going to get your bottom back first. So the bottom goes behind you. So you're thinking butt back. And then you'll have the reassurance of feeling the arm of the chair pretty fast. And then you can go and you can actually sit on it if you wish to take a little rest. And then when you come out, just as when you're coming up out of the chair, is to push into the floor, lifting your chest and coming up nice and tall. A lot of people will, if they're doing repeated movements, I'll see my clients, they'll go down, and then if they know they have to repeat, they won't actually come all the way tall because they want to, get a shortcut. So they'll go down, and then they'll come up, and then they'll go down. But I would like you to get the full advantage, squeeze your butt to get the full benefit of the range of motion. Once getting up and down from the arm of the chair becomes easy, and by all means, just so that I didn't have to shift everything around. Having both feet on the same surface is a wise thing to do, and making sure that, both feet feel secure. So just as an aside. Now the next thing would be to actually work from your chair. So you could take 1 or 2 or 3 pillows. And so what you're trying to do is work towards the height of the chair, but maybe you're going to do it, with 2 pillows on here, and then 1 pillow on here, and then no pillow. So as an example, if I, was going to go down just to the pillow, obviously it's going to be less distance to cover than going all the way to the chair, but it's a really good interim. So breath in. You could reach back so that you have the stability of the arms if you need to help you. And just as you feel that cushion, push your way back up. So if you need to take a rest and actually sit on the cushion, then by all means do so. But one way to work on that strengthening is to not actually give in to having to sit down, but to be able to control that descent. And that's what gives you a lot of the strength and the confidence to get in and out of a chair, or to feel like, oh, you can, you're starting to get into a position, but oh, you change your mind, or something happened, or you realize the remote is there, and you can actually hover for a little bit before having to sit or collapse into the chair. So these little interim steps are so very important, as I mentioned, to allow you to build the confidence to then be able to go all the way down, to be able to be versatile, or have that extra strength to, let's say, be able to move something that just happens to be there. It might even be your cat. That you're not feeling like, oh, as soon as you're starting to sit down, that chair better be there because you're going to collapse in it. So remembering to have your feet hip width or even staggered, so that you have that nice wide base of support. Something I didn't mention a lot of, but your knee position becomes really important as well. So here you'll see how my knees are always going to point wherever my feet are pointing. And so that means that when I'm getting in and out of the chair, that my knees aren't collapsing towards one another. When I allow my knees to come in relative to my feet, it means that my legs are feeling not strong enough really to support one another. For some of my older clients, they have found that this is just a habit, because especially for women, it was more ladylike to bring your knees together when going up and down. But that's a great disservice to muscles in your pelvis and deep in connecting to the hip that are there to help you stabilize. And so as you are working on your strength, another little thing to think about is where your knees are relative to your feet, and thinking about this space as a really positive space that you're wanting to keep open. So it's really almost a gentle pushing out of the knees as you're coming up, so that the knees stay pointing in the direction of the feet, whether you're going up or whether you're coming down. So I know that's a lot to absorb with something as simple as getting in and out of a chair, but if you take it one height at a time and one cushion at a time, and then I'm confident that you will build strength. If you don't happen to have a small chair with arms, a lot of my clients will use one end of their sofa, and what works really well is to take one sofa cushion and stack it on top of the actual cushion that you're sitting on, the big that it comes built into the sofa. They're usually a good 4 to 6 inches high and nice and solid. So you can place that on top of the other one when you're working on building your strength. Can't think of a better way of using a sofa. So I hope that helps you, and within these suggestions and ideas that you find a progression that allows you to succeed. I'm Margaret Muller Guide. If you want to find out more about my books and videos that I've produced, then you could click down in this the description box below. And if you liked my video and you are wanting to subscribe, you can just hit the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss any videos that I produce, you can hit the notification button. Thank you very much for joining me. Take good care and get strong.